I think nothing could be more annoying if somebody like me, who tried to keep every speaker to time, now ran on over time. So I expect tomatoes to be thrown if I get anywhere near time, but I've set the clock, and I'm supposed to just sum up. So let me do a couple of things first. First of all, you cameramen have been amazing. The way you've danced around a crowded room like that, and been so unobtrusive, so I want to thank you. I want to also ask you to join me in thanking all the speakers today who have done an amazing job of giving you a really great sense of how vast and interesting this field is. So could you please join me in just congratulating all of them. Thank you. Conferences like this happen because of the efforts of a lot of people, and I do want to mention my ClearlySo colleagues who were involved, because it was really they who made it successful. Sarah Mae Maroney, John Wright, Will Lowry, Harry Humphreys, and in particular, the woman who's been dashing around and has really been the architect of everything here today, Quinn Yoon Nguyen. So please join me in thanking them. A couple of just administrative points. I noticed a number of you have been clicking with your iPhones or whatever device. It was very impressive, but we're very happy to send you our presentations, and we're happy to act as a funnel between you and the speakers. If they're willing to, if you ask us, we can ask them, and we'll make sure their presentations get to you if those speakers are willing to do so. So we'll facilitate that for you. I guess there's a couple of things I wanted to touch on. One is that there's obviously a lot of demand, and there's a lot happening in this area, and I think that's interesting. I also think, I think Beth made a very interesting point about some of these impact funds have a competitive advantage, because if you're in a competitive bid situation, actually investees would rather work with you, and that's really interesting, and I wonder if in time that competitive advantage of some of these impact funds are not going to make a material difference. I think the other thing you learned today from some of the fantastic speakers we had is how varied they are in terms of size and shape and nationality and their headquarters and the size of their organizations. You know, Sky and Hermes on the one hand, and then Aristada, organizations like that on the other hand, in terms of track record. You know, DWS 20 years, Bamboo 12 years. I mean, it's really fantastic. The teams are so different. The assets they invest in are so different. I think it's really staggering when we think about that. I just think that is really an important takeaway from today. I felt Sade isn't here anymore, but I felt very depressed listening to Sade. I'll tell you why. I was on the board of AXIM for 6 years, till 2010, and I would every sort of year and a half talk about impact and just get a lot of, you know, groans. And it's really interesting that they've become such a leader with, what did she say, 318 million under management in the impact space. So I guess I was there too early, or not very convincing. There's, I guess, 3 points I'd like to make that I'd like you to go home and think about, and I will definitely end before 1753. The first is that there are plenty of products that are market return that are available, and your colleagues who say, "Oh, impact, you know, it's a big sacrifice," they're just being lazy and sloppy. Actually, they're not doing their homework. I think it's and by the way, lots of people don't deliver the returns they promise, but I think people here have track records, they have experienced teams, they've done this for a long time, and when your colleagues pop up and say, nah, just say no, that's lazy work, and you wouldn't tolerate it in the mainstream market, so don't tolerate it in this market either, because this is part of the mainstream market. That's my first point. My second point is that I think we're beginning to see signs of genuine demand from the marketplace. I mean, part of it is we didn't expect this room to be full, and we clearly got that wrong. There is a lot more demand out there. People talk about the millennials, but I don't think it's just the millennials, and I sometimes wonder if millennials are just talking about it. I think there seems to be genuine demand, and I think your organizations will find that if you don't offer products like that, in a very short space of time, and I think Chris touched on this, you may find that you're at a competitive disadvantage because some of your competitors are offering some of these things which will resonate with your end investor base. And I think that's really important. And the third thing is that if you get involved, you're going to have something to brag to your grandchildren about. And that's not so bad. So that's enough for me. Thank you all for coming, and we'll see you next year in a much bigger venue. Have a good evening and join us for drinks.